So you're looking for a BMW 5 Series. And let's be honest, if you're at this channel, you're most likely looking for an M5. And you know that the new M5 just came out. But you don't want to spend $150,000 on an M5. And I'll be fair, this car did not start at $150,000. You can get it for a steal if you get no options on it for a mere $119,000. And let's see what I put on it. This is already pre-built car, right? Let's see what I put. Frozen paint, because frozen paint looks amazing. See, black wheels, real basic. I know. Red black leather, extremely basic. Carbon interior, again, very basic. And let's see what packages. Carbon package for the exterior, so that's like spoilers, splitters, mirror covers. Executive package, every 5 Series needs it. That's how you get these shades. That's how you get the rear shade. You get head-up display. You get soft closed doors, if I'm not mistaken, unless they separated those out of the executive pack. But I'm pretty sure that's all a part of it. M drivers package, so you get the raised top speed and get all the M driver goods. The main thing being the raised top speed. And what I believe should be a standard option, because if you ever looked at a 2025 M5 review, almost every single time they're reviewed with carbon brakes, which I just thought is funny, because carbon brakes is actually an option that not a lot of people, especially in the US market, tend to spec with their car. Again, that's a story for another time. Gas guzzler destination, blah blah blah. Jacks it up to $150,000. 119 before options. That is insane. Um, Now I'm sure if you already followed the M5, the G90, which is what this is, the G90 chassis M5. If you already followed it, you already know it's like 5,000 something pounds. It's ridiculous. It's an EV, so it has the new S68 V8 bi-turbo, same as the S63 for all intents and purposes, but makes slightly less power than the base M5 of the F90. Slightly less power. Again, they're the experts, so we'll let BMW in their infinite wisdom of putting plastic parts in hot engine bays. We'll let them make the decisions. Um, the interior, I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. Like it's okay. What I will give it credit for, and I feel like not enough people give it credit for this, it is the actual first M5 to have a true wide body from factory. It does have fender flares that give it the wide stance, the real muscular look. Like regular M5 or previous generation M5, they don't have that. The only way you can tell from the rear that it's an M5 without looking at badges, quad tailpipes and whatnot, is just looking at the rear wheels and how the stance of the vehicle is. Like, that's one thing you could always use to tell a M5 apart from like a 550 or anything else. They always had those thick rear wheels at the back, like 275, I think, on the older ones, but I think they bumped that up to like 295, damn near 305s on the newer ones. Personally, I'd try to put the widest wheel possible on this thing. I'd probably try to have like 315s on this thing, but that'd probably poke a little bit. We don't want to go too hard. But anyway, 100, again, we're not looking at this price. We're looking at the base MSRP. $119,500. Insane. Let's say you don't have that kind of money, or you just don't want to spend that kind of money because you're smart and you know that this thing is going to lose value like no other and probably not be worth 4/5 this price by the end of next year. So let's say you want to go back to the F90. Again, this video will be about the performance aspect of the 5 Series, so we're not really going to talk about anything else like 530s, and well, that doesn't even count. Like, what's a 530? 540Is. We're not talking about M550s, even though I prefer a 2020 N63 TU3 M550. Personal opinion. We're not talking about any of those. We're just going to keep it about M5. So let's say you don't want to do the G90, and let's say you want to go back F90. Now, a really great option, 2019, 62,000 miles, 32,000, $62,000 price tag, 32,000 miles. I did check. The Carfax did come back with no damages reported. So if you do want to look up this vehicle, let me see if I can pull it up here just so you can believe me. Yep. No accident or damage reported. Commercial use. Number of owners not available. Does have service history available. Now, I would just triple check this. Just purely off the fact that number of owners isn't available, I'd triple check this car. And because I just don't like the way that license plate is set up, I definitely would quadruple check this car before looking at this one specifically. But again, let's say you want an F90. Let's say you want to save some money. Let's see. This is about half the price of that G90 before options, right? This is half the price. So for half the price and only 33,000 miles, which is not bad whatsoever for a 2019 car, it's nothing. Like get that out of your head. Like, oh, it has the mileage is broken. Like, no, why would you buy the car if you think it's gonna blow up at 30,000 miles? That doesn't make sense. But anyway, follow me, right? Very clean interior. I actually very much like this spec. Don't know what happened to the tailpipes. This thing must have got, I don't know what happened to this. Like that is horrible. So again, triple check that Carfax. But again, very beautiful interior. I love the 18 style, 18 and 19, and I guess 2020 style headlights. I definitely love these, that traditional BMW shape right there. Now, the one reason that I personally tend to steer away from these if I were looking for an M5, my main reason being right here. You may have already caught a glimpse of it, but this is my main reason. I hate that dash. I can't even lie. Like I can't stomach this dash. It looks horrible if you ask me. Like, then again, personal opinion. Everything else with this car could be amazing. Personal opinion, that's terrible. But what's the good thing about this car? It has the big twin turbo V8. It makes the horsepower, makes the torque. It has MX drive. What does that mean? It means you can go from four-wheel drive to four-wheel drive sport to two-wheel drive. And what that means is, with the push of a button, you can turn this car into a rear-wheel drive tire shredding monster, right? And then, with warmed up tires, you can switch it back to four-wheel drive sport, give it a launch, and who knows, you might get a 3.0 flat. But let's talk about the launches. So now, and you can fact check me on this, I've heard from multiple tuners that BMW configured the ZF transmission in this car to only have 100 hard launches. Now, what that means, right? From factory, the car is, the moment it's actually sold, the car is only allowed to do 100 hard launches. So like when you're aiming for that 3.2, 3.1, 3.0, 0 to 60, you only get 100 attempts before apparently the transmission is coded to dial it back slightly to not give you as hard of a launch. Now, obviously, that can all be fixed with an XHP transmission tune, and you'll never have to worry about that again. So the transmission issue, like I said, can be, there's a workaround for it. So you don't have to worry about the 100 hard launches thing if you're willing to modify the car. 2019, 30-something thousand miles, probably doesn't have warranty anyway. Let's just be honest. But what's the main thing you want to look out for? So the main thing that you want to look out for, and my eagle-eyed viewers that already noticed it, they might be able to tell you. But if not, I'm going to point it out right now. We're looking at it. One of the biggest problems actually had a factory recall right here. The expansion tank for the coolant. I don't know why they put it right there. That is crap. That's horrible. The reason why I say this is one of the biggest issues is because it's plastic. And BMW, again, in their infinite wisdom, like to put plastic parts in extremely hot engine bays where two hot ass turbos sit right here and cook everything in the vicinity, right? So what's the issue with this? This expansion tank, again, plastic, plastic is easier to work with when it expands and contracts due to heat cycles, blah, blah, blah. But it gets brittle and weak at the same time. What happens when it gets brittle and weak? And this little line right here, this little line, the seal for that, the seal that goes all the way around it, yeah, once that starts to get weak, you get coolant on cylinders 7 and 8 because this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get coolant on 7 and 8. You get coolant in your injectors. They're running. It's a nightmare, right? You get coolant running down the spark plug and running down the ignition coil. It's getting on the injector. It's smoking everything over here. And then you got even bigger issues. And my God, this is the S63 TU4 if I'm not mistaken, right? For the F90s. My God's with the 2020 M550, 2020 M550 and up, or M850 that have the N63B is one word, one way to call it. But the easiest way is N63, or the closest way, N63 TU3T, because you have a N63 TU3M, which is the like the medium range, like the medium output, which is really like just an updated TU2. So it's real confusing, but they don't call it a TU2. And then you have the TU3T, where that's the top range. That's the one I like. That's the one everyone else likes. The 523 horsepower and 556 or 53 pound-feet of torque, something like that. But that torque figure is actually the same torque figure as this S63 TU4. A lot of people don't know that. 2020 M550s, M8, every M850, and all the SUVs that have the TU3T, they all make about the same pound-feet of torque as their comparative full M counterpart. Because M550s aren't M cars, M850s aren't M cars. I like the M550. That's probably one of my favorite BMWs. I like the M850. That's also probably one of my favorite BMWs. They are not M cars. We don't do that here. M340is, they are not M cars. Get over it. I don't care what BMW says. I've seen that post where BMW's like, BMW B58 is M performance. Like, nah, I don't care about any of that. It's not an M car. All right. Let's continue. So this is the major thing that you'd want to look for on an F90 M5. Major thing right here. Everything else, regular maintenance for the most part. But this right here, definitely want to take care of that. Get a billet expansion tank. Now you can get this from a lot of different aftermarket performance websites and shops. I think RK AutoWorks has one. I forget the names of the other guys, but there's definitely other shops that have it as well. Just search F90 or search S63TU4 billet expansion tank. It'll come right up. But yes, this is the 2019, right? The reason I bring this up is because you can get one of these M5s if you want to save the most money, right? You want the best deal. You want to save the most money you can. So you look at a 2019 M5 or 2018. You can do the same thing with 2018. They're exactly the same, right? Now, let's say you have a little more money and you want the LCI. I give you this. Now, this is a base, right? So it's not necessarily the best one, but, you know, they say it's a base. The pictures have pure competition. It looks like a competition here, like it has all the black trim and everything, but it's not nothing to change the trim and whatnot. So this could be a competition. It could be a base. Who knows? We could just check the VIN. BMW VIN decoder. Look that up as well. If you're ever looking for a BMW VIN decoder, search that up. Search in the VIN that you're looking for, and you'll be able to decode any car that you want. And you'll be able to find out exactly what options that it had from factory. That way you know if certain options were retrofitted after the fact or after they were purchased. If they're lying about some of the things that the car has, like if they say, oh, it has the M drivers pack, and then you look up the VIN and it doesn't have the M drivers pack, or in this case, it is a competition, but then you look up the VIN and it says it's a base M5. So a lot of different things that you can search for with the VIN decoder. Now, the LCI is definitely nice, and it gives you that M5 CS kind of look, right? Here's my favorite part of this car. It has the iDrive 7 full digital dash. Now, some people say it doesn't look that good. Some people don't actually like it that much. I actually feel like it should have been a little bit higher resolution, like but it might just be the picture. This picture looks a little pixelated. But This is definitely just, I got a personal bias for it. I can admit that. This is definitely my favorite BMW style of dash for the 5 Series. But here's the best part. Even though you have all these, the digital dash with all the technology and everything in it, you still have hard buttons. This, this is where the money is. This right here. You still have the shortcuts. Every BMW guy knows it. The shortcuts right here. We love it. You have hard buttons for the climate control, right? Like, it's just the heated seats, the cool seat, everything is just right there. It's just easily accessible. Nothing's hard to find, and it just works. Everything just works, right? And it's perfect. But again, this is potentially an M5 base with 61,000 miles on it from 2021, and they want $66,000. That's not that great of a deal if you ask me. That's a lot of money. But let's say you don't actually like the face, right? Let's say you don't actually like the updated face. Let's say you only like the rear end. Let's say you like the 2018 face more than you like this face, or the 2019 face. Same thing, right? Let's say you like this face more than you like the 2020 LCI face, and it could just be, for me, it's purely for the headlight. I like these headlights more than the new headlights. I don't dislike the new headlights, but I like these headlights a lot more. Again, that's just my opinion. We're all free to have opinions. Now, let's say you want to have a more updated face, right? But you don't want to spend that 2021 LCI money, full LCI money. Why did I call it a full LCI? Because you have what I believe is the best model year for the G30 slash F95 series and M5, the 2020. Why do I say that it's the best model year to have? One, it has the 2018 face with the 2018 lights that we all know and love. Two, it has the LCI dash that I love. Again, I got a personal bias for it. It has the LCI dash that I love, right? You can check the build date again on that website I gave you, BMW VIN Decoder. Search it up. You can use that website and find out the build date of the car. Now, for my people that follow BMW, we know that cars built prior to June 2020 only require a bench unlock to unlock the DMEs. You don't have to ship it out to Finland and get it unlocked by Femto. So what that means is a 2020 car. Now, if you got a 2020 and let's say the build date is late 2019, let's say you bought one of the first 2020 BMW M5s and it was built, let's say like December 2019. That means you can go take this to any tuner shop you want, and all they have to do is take out the DMEs and bench unlock it. They don't have to ship it out. You can have your car tuned that same day, right? You don't have to do any of that other stuff. You don't have to take it out, ship it here, wait a week and a half or so, get it back, pray to God nothing happened to it. You don't have to do any of that. Get it unlocked right there in a couple hours. Wow, you got a downpipe tune M5 because now we're a downpipe warrior, ready to go. And if you ask me, I'd definitely say that's more than a great trade-off, right? You get the 2021 looks, the 2021 performance on the inside and under the skin. You get the 2018 looks on the outside, but then you also have the ease of not having to ship your DME out to get it unlocked. That's a win-win-win if you ask me. And then again at the end, let's say you get tired of the 2018 look. Let's say you don't actually like the 2018 look that much. Let's say you actually want to update it and make it look like something else, right? It's nothing to actually, because I believe the hoods are interchangeable. The hoods are almost most definitely interchangeable. But all you'd have to do is swap the grille, front bumper cover, and the headlights, and you can literally just facelift the whole front of the car. I believe the fenders are exactly the same. You could just facelift the whole front of the car and give it the LCI treatment. If you ever get tired of this, and now it's like you have a whole freshly updated BMW. And it's all plug and play because you're just going from a 5 series to another 5 series. It can all work. It's all been done before. I'm not making any of this stuff up. So it's a lot of money that can be saved by getting a 2020 and a lot of benefits that come along with it. So again, that's why I say the 2020 is the best model year for the G30 slash F90s. Now let's say you don't have F90 money. Let's say you're trying to save a little bit more money, but you still want a fast car that can go over 200 miles an hour, sounds aggressive, blah, blah, blah. Smoke machine, can burn out, all these different things. I give you the F10 BMW M5. All right, follow me. It's old, I get it. So for $33,000, that's real different from 60 something for those F90s, right? For $33,000, this isn't even bad. 44,000 miles, that's nothing. 2015 car. This could have potentially been built in 2014. So this has been on the road for easily 10 years. 44,000 miles over 10 years is no mileage. Again, get that stuff out of your head where you feel like, oh, it has a little bit of mileage, it's going to blow up. That's not how cars work. When you maintain cars for the way that you drive and the way that you keep the car, they work. 9 times out of 10. What does that mean? If you drive the car like a NASCAR driver 24/7, but you maintain it like a NASCAR pit crew 24/7, the car will work. If you drive it like a maniac, but then you maintain it like a Honda, as in you don't maintain it. And I'm not talking about like a Civic where you're building it with like some K series monster. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like a boring Honda Accord that you don't maintain or you barely maintain. You just put gas in it. Yes, the car will stop working. But again, with a little tender loving care, a F10 can be a great look. F10 is still a beautiful looking M5. Beautiful car. Again, I'm still taking a 550 over it. X-Drive for this generation anyway. But yes, the F10 M5, beautiful car, 560 horsepower. If you get a competition package, you get it with like 600 horsepower. You can also get these with carbon brakes if you wanted to. I think this one has carbon brakes on it. You can get it with carbon brakes. You can get all that stuff, right? Now, the biggest thing with these, you're going to have to deal with injectors, high pressure fuel pumps, things like that. And now I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's a lot of money, man. Like, I don't know. I don't want to have to buy the car and immediately take it to BMW, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is why you got to look for vetted shops that work on these cars. Follow me. If you know of a BMW shop and you know that they work on all the local high power BMWs like 800, 900, 1,000 wheel horsepower BMWs, who do you think would be better at maintaining a stock BMW? The shop that has vetted and proven 800 and 1,000 wheel horsepower BMWs, or the BMW dealership where they can barely keep up with stock cars? You go to the dealership, they'll diagnose it, they'll tell you something's wrong with it, and then they'll charge you a bunch of money to go fix whatever, and it may not even fix the issue. Or again, you can go with the indie shop, like, oh, the indie shop, you can't trust them, but they have nothing but 1,000 horsepower BMWs outside, and it would be nothing to simply just maintain a stock car, let alone 1,000 horsepower car. But again, that's up to you how you want to do it. If you feel safer at the dealership, that's fine, but you will be faced with that dealership tax and that premium. You want to go to the indie shop, there's a lot of money to be saved. I'm not saying that the labor is going to be cheap, but it will be cheaper than what BMW is going to charge you. But here's where you save money. Here's the biggest saving. Knowing how to find parts. Example, the F10 M5 takes EU5 injectors, the LCI anyway. This is a LCI, 2014 to 16, LCI F10. We don't look at 2011s, 12, 13, that stuff is garbage. Forget all that. Get that out your head. We don't do that. I'm trying to save you trouble. Do not do it. All right? Again, EU5 and EU6. So EU5 is what would go into an M5. BMW charges $357 for one injector. You need 8. $357 for one injector. What that means is when you need 8 injectors to have all 8, because when you change injectors, don't just change one. Don't be that guy, okay? If you want to be cheap and still do it, the most I would say is like, or the least I would say is like, change the entire bank of injectors. Like, if injector 2 goes out, then change 1 through 4. If injector 6 goes out, change 5 through 8. But if you really just want to save time, trouble, and headache, just do it. Just do it all the first time. Change all 8 of them. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, change all 8 of them? Who has $2,900 to just go buy the injectors alone, let alone all the extra hardware that has to come with it to actually do the swap? And then you have to pay somebody who has the BMW computer to configure it to that car, because you do have to code the injectors. Who has money for that? You have money for it. And let me tell you why. Bow. EU5 injectors. Bosch. Who's Bosch? The supplier for BMW. BMW is the OEM, the manufacturer. So what you're paying for on these EU5s are the BMW tattoos that go on the injector. And what you're getting from Bosch is the injector, minus the BMW tattoos. And that's at $775.84. Well, what's the difference? You get all 8 injectors plus the hardware to do the actual swap. So for the price of 2 BMW injectors alone, you can get the full 8 with all the hardware you need. Now you just got to find somebody that has the software to actually install it for you. Whether or not you can install it yourself, that's great. But to actually code it to the vehicle, you're going to need a computer for that. And those computers can run you $8,000 to like $11,000, from my understanding. There's also ways to get the software for free. I'm not saying that in this video, but if you want to look into that, there's ways to do that as well. Now, there you go. You just saved thousands of dollars on injectors, right? Let's look at another big ticket item that goes out on the S63 TU, because again, this is a LCI F10. What's another big ticket that goes out? High pressure fuel pumps. $860. But don't forget, your V8 engine, your V8 twin turbo engine is really like 2 inline 4 turbocharged engines bolted at the crank. And that's how you have to treat it. So you don't have one high pressure fuel pump. You have 2. That means you have to buy 2 of these. Basically $900 a piece. So that's $1,800 just for the high pressure fuel pumps. Now the swap and install is actually not that hard. They sit right above they sit right on top of the engine. I believe the passenger side is by cylinder 2. The driver side is by cylinder 6. Not too bad, right? The actual install. Depending on the build date of your car, you may have to buy adapters. Those are like $15, they're not bad. But if you don't want to spend that BMW tax, you can buy the Bosch. Again, the people that make it for BMW. That's the difference between OEM and OE. They're the supplier for BMW, so it's gonna fit, it's gonna work. You buy it for $170. $170 is very different from $860. Again, you still need 2. But if you buy it from Bosch, that's a lot of money saved. And I know what you're thinking, oh, the pins look different, or the plugs look different. Now, if the plugs look different, all that means, and these plugs actually look the same, but depending on which when your car was built, you might, I believe it's February. I want to say it's a February 2014 thing. Before, there was a different type of plug. After, you had to get an updated plug. After February 2014, you have to get an updated plug. So all that meant is you have to buy an adapter, which FCP Euro sells for, I think, like $15, I want to say. See if I can find it here. Pump wiring adapter. You need 2 of these. About $20 a pop. All you gotta do is just crimp it so it can plug into the high pressure fuel pump. and then you're good to go. $20 a pop, so $40 altogether. You can do the entire job. You can get the entire high pressure fuel pump job done, even with buying new adapters. You get it done for less than half the price of one BMW high pressure fuel pump. This is what I mean when I say you have to know where to look. When you know where to look, you can go buy one of these older BMWs and not have to sweat and get scared and get worried about, oh, how I'm going to maintain it, this, that, and the third. You just have to look. You got to do research. But I highly advise you do research like this before ever buying a car. Do not buy a car, then try to figure it out when stuff happens. Like, you got to know, you got to have a shop in mind, have a trusted guy in mind, unless you can do it all yourself. If you do it all yourself, kudos to you. I'm very jealous. But if you have a trusted guy to work on the car, or girl to work on the car, that'd be great. Um, have fair labor rates. That's all good and well. Don't ever take it to the dealership. I don't care what you say. Do not ever take it to the dealership unless you need like a new short block or something, or even a new one. Like, just don't take it to the dealership. Okay, like, they're gonna screw you over. They're gonna charge you hundreds of dollars just to diagnose a car, to tell you something is wrong with it. They're not gonna tell you what's wrong with it. They're gonna tell you something is wrong with it, and then you have to let them work on the car. And then they'll, after they charge you an arm and a leg, they'll be like, oh, turns out it was this. And you just have to pray to God that was it, because it lets you have to go back. Oh my gosh, who knows? And again, if you're buying a F10 M5 for 20 something, 30 something $1,000, you're most likely not taking this to the dealership anyway. So again, before you buy one of these cars, research where you're going to get it fixed. Research where you're going to get parts from. Research the common issues with the chassis. That's the biggest thing. Research the common issues with the platform before buying the car. Research common issues and the fixes for those issues. Now, if it has common issues, oh, stay away from it. Oh, it consumes oil. It does this, it does that. But then you do more research and you find out, oh, here are the fixes. Oh, high pressure fuel pumps go out. Here's the new ones for half the price of BMW. Oh, the car likes to burn oil. If you have a 550, it likes to burn oil. Oh, here's an upgraded thermostat and an upgraded sport oil cooler valve. Now it doesn't burn oil as much. The oil always has access to the oil cooler, and now my gaskets aren't shitting out the damn car every couple of months, and I'm not filling up oil every 2 weeks. Like, just little things like that. Small things like running the car with no heat. No engine cover on the actual engine. This engine cover, take this off. Do not run this on the car. This cooks everything under it. All the lines for coolant and everything like that, oil lines, wiring, everything gets fried because of this. Because it just traps the heat right on top of the turbos and anything in between. Remove that. But little things like that. Just researching small fixes and small things that you could do to the car to make it last longer. My M550, guys, I'm gonna give you another one. This is just a gem. Hold on to it. There's an issue with the transfer case, either not having enough transfer case fluid or the fluid being too thin from factory. So they're telling you, oh, change the fluid every 30,000 miles or something like that. Almost change the fluid the amount of times you change the ignition coils almost. Which I hope you change more than 30,000, but whatever. But they're telling you to change it more often because sometimes they're not even filled up all the way. Or they're the fluid inside of them is too thin, and it's not giving enough lubricant to everything that's inside the transfer case, causing them to go out prematurely. And you're gonna notice that whenever you turn the wheel, do a full lock turn, and it starts to rumble and do a lot of things like that, you're gonna notice that the transfer case is going out. So that's something that you want to look out for. But again, look that up before you get into the car. So there's a lot of ways and a lot of things that you just want to look out for when trying to get into one of these cars, and just a lot of workarounds to save money. And like, you can, and look, at the end of the day, you might say, oh, it's an old BMW, oh, it's this many thousand miles, oh, it's this, it's that. You can get one of these cars out the auction for even less than this. I'm talking, you can get one of these. You can get one of these out the auction for this price if you're willing to fix it, right? And when you come down the street, I'm not gonna like. It doesn't matter what I say, but nobody's gonna sit there and say, "Oh, he has a salvage M5 or he has an auction." They're gonna see an M5 competition going down the street. That's it. Nobody knows where you got it from. I'm not saying it's stolen, but like you bought it. Nobody knows you got it from auction. Nobody knows it has this many thousand miles. Nobody knows anything. They just see you in an M5. It really doesn't matter what anyone thinks. But if you're worried about that, I'm just saying you're in an M5. Even if it's an F10, it's an M5. Literally for like what, $5,000 invested? This thing's a reliable 200 plus mile an hour rocket. All it takes, intakes, intercoolers, downpipes, charge pipes. This thing's ready to run. It's good to go. Trust me. Trust me when I tell you. These cars are really good cars. You just have to pay attention to the maintenance. You got to pay attention to where you get the parts and where you're getting the car fixed. It's not that bad. Do not let people fool you and trick you into thinking it's impossible to maintain these. But also don't be naive and act like you didn't know what you were getting into by getting a high mileage BMW. I'm just putting that out there. You gotta understand it's gonna come with some hijinks, it's gonna come with some hiccups. But if you want to get into one of these cars, it's definitely possible. You just have to do research. And you should do this with any platform. And again, I don't want to hold you guys up any longer. I will let you go. All these listings are still here. I believe by the time I post this video, I'll probably record this video the day before it got posted. So a lot of these are still here. Like if you want any one of these cars, you can go pick them up. They're all here. So I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer. I want to let you guys go. I hope you took if you took anything from this video, I hope you just took that you don't have to be afraid of these higher mileage cars, these older cars. You don't have to be afraid of them. Don't let people trick you into saying, oh, they're no good. You're better off spending $100,000 on the brand new one because spending this much money on a car that's going to depreciate like garbage and end up costing this in just a few years makes more sense. Don't let anybody fool you into that, trying to believe that you have to have the newest car. You don't have to have the newest car. It is a M5. No one's going to tell you anything when you pull up in an M5. It does not matter. Why? Every M5 I just showed you here today, F10, F90 pre-LCI, F90 half LCI, F90 LCI, and even the G90, we're not talking about that one though. They're all 200 mile an hour rockets after modification. They don't go 200 miles per hour from factory. If you want a 200 mile per hour factory BMW, you got to get an Alpina. That's another topic. But yes, don't let anybody fool you into thinking you have to have the new car. Okay, save money, be smart, research, look for the pros and cons, look for the fixes, look for where you're going to find parts. Look for where you're going to find parts. Look for where you're going to find parts, and you'll be perfectly fine. And again, maintain the car how you drive the car. If you're NASCAR driving it, speed racing it, you're bending blocks like Toretto every day, I'm not mad at you. I like that. Beat up the streets. I love it. Maintain the car like you do that. As in, check the oil every time you drive it. Check your coolant levels every other time you drive it. Change your spark plugs 10,000 miles. And it should be NGK one step colder spark plugs, by the way, if you're tuned. Check ignition coils about every other spark plug change. Oil changes every 35 to 5,500 miles. Don't listen to what BMW tells you with OW30. That is garbage. That is vegetable oil, and the only thing that's gonna cook are your gaskets. Don't use that garbage. 5W40. These are hot V8s. And I'm not talking about the hot V configuration. I'm talking about the actual engine itself. This car runs hot as hell. 5W40 at the very least. 3,500 to 5,500 miles is when you should think about changing your oil. At 5,500 miles, change your damn oil. Keep a quarter two in the trunk. Good to go. But other than that, you guys safe up. Stay sturdy.